That's just not how you identify the bias. So how do you do it properly? This is how you do it properly. Nothing on your chart. All you do is having a narrative. Everything that you do needs to have a process. Even if you want to identify the bias, you need a narrative. You need to be able to talk about what you see to be visually true and what you know to be factual without interpreting. On this chart, you can definitely talk about what you see to be visibly true. We've been going bearish for a couple of days, so there is some bearishness. We are bearish as far as I'm concerned, as far as this range anyway. We are bearish. What else do you see? I see consolidation. We've been consolidating for the past 2 weeks or so. What else do you see? Well, I do see that the market is at an order block level. What do you know to be factual? We are making equal highs and equal lows. That's it. That's all you need. That's your narrative. A narrative can come in two ways. You can either have a narrative with an idea and a narrative without an idea, which means what? Which means if after this narrative someone comes and asks you, "Yo, what is your bias for tomorrow?" Nothing, because the market is consolidating at the moment. I don't have to stress about it. I don't have a bias at the moment. I just don't. Monday is going to open. Let's see what happens. I'm not stressing over it. You can leave it at that if you don't have an idea. But if the narrative you just, how can I say, you were able to make from what you saw, from the data that you saw on the market gives you an idea, then we can start talking about bias. But it's still just an idea. It's not concrete. It's a bias idea. That's what it is. The bias is not set in stone because, again, back to this, you cannot predict the market. Where is it? Where did I put it? Yeah. Back to this, you cannot predict the market. So you cannot have a set in stone bias. You cannot say tomorrow is going to be bullish and sitting there thinking that, yeah, tomorrow is definitely going to be bullish. You still need a level of confirmation from the market. And the only way you can get that confirmation of your bias idea holding true is if you learn how to read live data. That's the only way. Live data is the only way that can give you confirmation of your bias idea holding true. So let's come back here. You've built your narrative and you have an idea for what may happen next week or next day. What does this mean? What do you do now? You contemplate and you prepare if you want to stick to your idea. You contemplate and you prepare. Again, talking about vocabulary, the vocabulary is very important. You don't have to agree with my vocabulary, but this is the vocabulary I had to come up with to help me understand. Contemplating is very different from predicting. I will give you an analogy towards the end and you will understand. Contemplating is very different from predicting. Preparing yourself is very different from expecting. Two total opposite things leading you to different results. One's beneficial to me, the other is absolutely detrimental. And this is where you are. And this is where you're trying to get. And to get to this point, you need to figure out how to do this properly. To do this properly, it's not complicated. It's just you talking about what you see and have an idea. Come up with an idea. Talk about what you see and come up with an idea. That's all it is. Or if you feel like you are not able to come up with a story for the chart, then don't force yourself to come up with an idea. Let it go. So when you're able to create a narrative, so when you're able to come up with when you're able to create a narrative and come up with an idea from the narrative that you have, then we can start talking about having a bias. However, that bias is just an idea because even for that bias to pan out, you need preparation. So, overall, all you really end up doing is contemplate in preparation. What does that mean, contemplating in preparation? Contemplating in preparation, well, actually, let's define that word. I want to define that word, all right? Contemplate meaning. What does contemplating means? Contemplate means look thoughtfully for a long time. All right, not really what we're looking for. Similarly, it also means think about. Look at that. What did I say earlier? On a surface level, one word can mean something, but depending on the context, it can have a whole different meaning. ICT talked about think of, or think about, and I thought about predicting. But here, the word contemplate also means think about, which is the same terminology or vocabulary that ICT talked about or mentioned when he was talking about thinking about the next weekly candle or thinking about what the next weekly candle is likely going to do. Do you see where I'm going with this? When I switch my vocabulary this way, it helped me assess the market better. In which way? When it comes to contemplating, well, first of all, right or wrong, it made me not expect anything from the market. I don't expect anything really because I already know I don't control it. I just watch the market play and interpret it as it is playing during the day. I don't interpret old data, I don't need it. I interpret during the day. That's what contemplating in preparation led me to or gave me. Also, when you contemplate in preparation, you can only look for opportunities where you have prepared to see your bias idea unfolding. Your bias is not true yet, and you don't expect let's say here you have the idea to be bullish, you have an idea to go bullish, you have a bias idea that's bullish. It's not true until the live market is on, until that market is printing candles live, not the old data, not what happened yesterday. And because of that, you can only look for opportunities where you have prepared to see your bias idea unfolding. We're going to get to that, why I put the cause here. I will explain why. Only live data can confirm whether your bias is correct or incorrect, which means you are not glued to trade in one direction, and this is true. If you contemplate the possibility that the market will side with you on your bias idea, there are other things that can happen during that live market that may give you opportunity, counter trend opportunity or counter bias opportunity. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that that's how I was able to start. Let's say if I'm bullish and the market is going down, that's how I was able to take those short opportunities until the market reaches the level at which I am looking for opportunities for longs. But I can only do that if I have live data. I cannot do that with old data. Only live data can give me that. So that way, even if my bias doesn't hold true, it's fine. I just went short twice. I didn't even know I was going to go short today. But the market gave me opportunities. So I ended up being on the right side of the market without even trying because I was not expecting an image or a thought that I had about the market to just happen, to just deliver. I was not caught up into this bubble, which my guess is that's where you are. If you get stopped out, you will know why, 100%. When you're in this position where you contemplate in preparation, you get stopped out, you know why. And even if you don't know, you step back. Because if you get stopped out, you likely took the trade at the wrong level anyway, or you were wrong about the bias, or you tried to chase. Either way, you get stopped out. It's cool. It's cool. But you will know why. At least I know why. Because there are certain elements that I'm obviously this is just surface level stuff. But if you add to that everything that ICT shows you, like timing, how to add time to your trade with kill zones and stuff like that, it starts to build a certain level of framework or um, a certain level of box that you have to respect for it to help you with your so-called bias idea. So if it doesn't pan out, you will know why with live market data, not old data. You develop immaculate patience, and that is very true. Going back to the second point, since you can only look for opportunities where you have prepared to see your bias idea unfolding, you can adjust, shift, adapt your thinking on the spot. That again is true, but actually, I shouldn't have put this in because this involves the element of time. Yeah, maybe I need to take this off, but I'm going to leave that in because it's still true. I was able to start doing it when I started to look at the market from this perspective or when I started to get into this bubble. The last one, it makes you a better loser instead of a bitter loser. Now, honestly, I put this in because it sounded nice. It really sounded nice because, and to a certain extent, it's actually true, or even very true if you want to, because days where my bias is wrong, where I feel like, let's say, the market has traded to my cause, and I will tell you what I keep calling cause. The market has been trading to my cause, and has been giving me something of a confirmation, but that is really not a confirmation, but I forced myself into it. I take the trade and I get stopped out. I just go to bed. I just consider that my bias was wrong at that point and I go to bed. That's it. I know tomorrow I would be right. But that's what you get when you don't expect anything anyway. This is likely where you are if you're looking at this video. This is what you want, the calm that this brings you, but this is what you're lacking. Now, we've been talking about contemplating a lot, but we haven't talked too much about preparation. So, if you have an idea of a bias, okay, let's say you looked at the market, you had your narrative, and your idea is that, yeah, we're going to be bullish. There is something that you're missing. You need a cause that supports the idea. That's why I said earlier, when you have an idea, you can start talking about a bias, but it's not a bias just yet. It's just an idea. For you to make it a bias, you need a cause. And why do I say a cause? Well, let's go on Google again and let's try to define the word meaning. Now, be honest with yourself. Ever since you started trading, have you ever tried to find a definition of bias? I know I haven't. Bias, inclination or prejudice for or against one person or group, especially in a way considered to be unfair. This doesn't sound like something related to what we're doing here. So, next, a systematic distortion of a statistical result due to a factor not allowed for in its derivation. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Cause to feel or show inclination for or against someone or something. Remember, vocabulary is important. What is this? Keyword, cause. Second keyword, inclination. You need a cause to show your inclination for something. That cause is what all these guys are doing. These lines. That's the cause. They'll show you how to identify the cause for you to have a bias. All right. So Back to the thingy. So identifying the cause is how you prepare. The PD array, the order block that you identify, doesn't mean your bullish bias is true. It just means that you have a cause, a justification to have an inclination. You have a cause that will allow you to wait for the market at that area for a confirmation to give you an opportunity to go in the direction of your bias idea. This is my order block. If the markets gets here, and if my idea of a bullish day is true, I just need to wait for a market structure shift. If the market gives me that confirmation, I will try to go long. There you have a bias, and it only makes sense now because all you do really is contemplating and wait for live data to give you the green light. All right. So I hope that makes sense. So to get to this point, this is what you need to do. One, you want to study an experience. Okay. You want to study and allow yourself time to digest information properly. This is the whole point of this video, to help you, to make you understand that if you don't understand why your daily bias is wrong all the time, one, you have a, you need to consider the possibility that you haven't digested all the information that you've been studying properly. You haven't understood all the true meanings. You haven't done all the checkbox, like finding out who you are as a trader, knowing your mission statement, you know, understanding that there are different scenarios for the word bias that you use every single day. And when you're trying to determine your bias, if you come from ICT, you need also to consider the fact that maybe you did not really understand everything that he said. And if you have, maybe you had the wrong interpretation, like I did. And if you had the wrong interpretation, well, it's time to use the right interpretation. This is where it starts. To have your bias, you need to have a narrative first, then you need to have a narrative first, then an idea, then prepare for the eventuality that your idea holds true. And that takes time to figure it out. Whatever information you're looking for on the internet, it always takes time to digest the information. Two, let your brain connect the dots on its own. Don't force your understanding, or you will end up interpreting information the wrong way. Or even worse, you will end up see things or interpret informations from the chart that are not even on the chart because you're just confused. Get it to your head once and for all that the market is not yours to debunk. And it's just not. If a guy like ICT who has 30 years of professional experience, I guess, or a guy like there's another trader that I really appreciate on YouTube that he goes by the name of Trader Tom. A guy like Trader Tom literally tells you like, "Hey, yo, even I'm not right all the time with this daily bias stuff." That should tell you enough. You're wrong about the daily bias, I don't know, 80% of the time. Break news. You're supposed to be wrong because you're not supposed to know what this market is trying to do. You're just gauging. So if in a month you're right about the daily bias 10% of the time, dude, should be happy, in my opinion, because I never go into the market thinking my bias needs to pan out. Nope. I left that long ago. But that's because I know which type of trader I want and I know what my mission statement with this market is. Let's take this example. Imagine here, you see this move to the downside? If you're a swing trader, easily you are in this trade and your stop loss is down here because you have this order block. So your entry is at the open of the candle and your stop loss is below the candle. So it's likely that you're still in this trade. Good for you. But if you're a scalper and you saw this order block on a daily chart, and you put a line right here and you were thinking to yourself, well, once the market gets here, I'm going to take a trade. How many times did you get stopped out? I'm an intraday trader. I can never put myself in. Why would I put myself in the kind of situation where I look at this order block and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, when the market gets here, I'm taking a buy." Are you crazy? That is shooting myself in the foot. I will never do that shit. I will be aware of it, but until the market gives me the right signal, nope, I'm not expecting shit. And we're seeing what happened. I almost got caught up though. It's not easy, I'm telling you. I almost got caught up by the market on this day right here. I think this was a Wednesday. I almost got caught lacking by the market on this day because I I slipped up and expected a bullish day, and the market did this. Phew. I was like, Jesus Christ, what was that? But then, like I said earlier, I figured maybe like about 15 to 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes later, why I almost got caught. Because this is Wednesday, this is Tuesday, there is no Monday here. So this was technically the Tuesday of that week. We only traded 4 days last week because Monday was bank holiday. So Tuesday technically was the first day of the week, was the Monday, and Wednesday was the Tuesday of last week. So if I was expecting higher moves, I should have anticipated a move to the downside first, and I completely forgot about that. I got caught up, lost the trade in this market here. And I was like, well, damn. And guess what? The next day, I made bucks. So you need to learn how to contemplate, but contemplate in preparation. Have an idea, prepare for eventualities, and do let the market do what the market does. Don't sit here talking about I want the market to do this, I want the market to do that. Here, even when you hear the ICT lingo, okay, I'm going to go long, but I don't want the market to trade below here. If the market trades below here, then so be it. That's how ICT speaks. Hear it, mimic it. You can never trade like him, but by mimicking his ways when you're studying, you can come up with your own way of trading the market that you are comfortable with, that sits right by you. And all of that comes when you know exactly which type of trader you are. All right. So, last bits before I end this video, including time in your trading. Like I said earlier, this is going to save you. This took my trading to a whole different level. I'm talking about these kill zones. Really took my trading to a whole different level. Um, accept the sorry, I'm French, so sometimes some of these words, man. Accept the inevitability that you are going to be wrong. Accept it, because being wrong about the bias is not wrong. You're not supposed to be right in the first place. So being wrong is not really wrong, it's expected. Just make sure you are prepared. Be wrong, be right, no one gives a fuck. You shouldn't give a fuck. The market doesn't give a fuck. But be prepared for eventualities. That's what matters. Yesterday data is good, but learn to understand what the live data is telling you. Yeah, learn to understand what the live data is telling you. Learn to read the live data market. Don't be like I would say 2 years ago when I started learning ICT. I would just identify a zone, and as soon as the market gets there, I just click buy without really trying to understand if the market is giving me a signal, if the market is has changed, if the market has done something else before. Nope. And that was costing me money. Learn to read the live data. I think that's what they call reading the tape. It's very useful. The last bit, which is probably my favorite one in this list, backtest to investigate market behaviors, not to prove to yourself that your strategy works. I've been in a position where I'm backtesting and I want to see a 70% winning rate just so I can have a good night's sleep. That is not going to help you with your daily buys. It's just not. Investigate. Yes, you can backtest because you want to test your winning strategy. Sorry, because you want to test the winning rate of your strategy, but you also need to backtest to investigate the market behaviors. What does the market do sometimes at 8:30? What does the market do sometimes at in the afternoon? What does that mean? To this day, I do not understand afternoon trading by ICT. And I'm still backtesting and investigating that to this day. I understand that it takes time. That's why I never attempt to trade the afternoon unless I'm in a trade that, you know, reaches the afternoon hours before taking off. But I never purposefully get into the market to trade the afternoon like he did, I think, on last Friday. I never do that. I need to be in a trade before then. So, yeah. I had an analogy here on what contemplating means without anticipating. I don't know if it's necessary, so I'm going to save it for the next video. I'm going to do a part two to show you exactly I how I look for bias on a chart, how I incorporate all of this into my into the way I look for bias, right? So I'll see you in the next video. I hope I shed some light, I dropped some gems, and I hope whatever it is that I give you here is going to help you not identify the bias necessarily, but help you locate where your problem is and how you can fix it. All right. And don't forget to watch ICT's last episode. Make sure you watch that video and come back to this video if you want to. Anyway, you guys take it easy. It's Monday. Have a beautiful start of the week. And